the Ottoman Empire, a name that once commanded respect and fear across 3 continents. By the early 17th century, the empire found itself teetering on the brink. Internal strife and external threats chipped away at its once mighty foundations. Decades of weak rulers and rampant corruption had ignited revolts within the empire. The once disciplined Janissaries, the backbone of the Ottoman military, had grown unruly and power-hungry. They sought to impose their will upon the Sultan, rather than obey his commands. The enemies of the Ottomans, sensing weakness, grew bolder. In the east, the Safavid Persians threatened the empire's borders. European powers, emboldened by the dawn of the Age of Exploration, began to challenge Ottoman dominance in the Mediterranean Sea. The empire, once a beacon of power and prosperity, found itself grappling with the very real possibility of collapse. It was a time of uncertainty and fear. The very survival of the empire seemed in doubt. The Ottoman people yearned for a strong leader, someone who could restore order, quell the chaos, and lead them back to their former glory. Little did they know that destiny had a leader waiting in the wings. A young sultan, hardened by a tumultuous upbringing, was about to seize the reins of power and embark on a mission to revive the empire. His name would become synonymous with the brief but brilliant period of Ottoman resurgence. His name was Murad IV. The Ottoman Empire, a force that emerged from the Anatolian steppes in the 13th century, had a history steeped in conquest and expansion. Founded by Osman I, the empire rapidly grew into a formidable power, conquering vast territories across 3 continents. The capture of Constantinople in 1453, under the reign of Mehmed II, marked a turning point in history, solidifying the Ottoman Empire's position as a dominant force in the region. The Ottomans were renowned for their military prowess, their disciplined Janissaries, and their effective administrative systems. Sultans like Suleiman the Magnificent further expanded the empire's borders, reaching the gates of Vienna and establishing Ottoman dominance in the Mediterranean Sea. This era marked the zenith of Ottoman power, a golden age of cultural flourishing and economic prosperity. The empire's success was built upon a complex social structure, a multi-ethnic population, and a relatively tolerant approach to religious diversity. The Ottomans embraced advancements in art, architecture, and literature, leaving behind a rich cultural legacy. The empire's influence extended far beyond its borders, shaping the political and economic landscape of Europe, Asia, and Africa. The seeds of decline, however, were sown even during the empire's golden age. The vastness of the empire made it increasingly difficult to govern effectively from the capital, Constantinople. Corruption began to seep into the administrative system, weakening the central authority of the Sultan. The Janissaries, once the symbol of Ottoman military might, became increasingly involved in palace intrigues and power struggles, undermining the stability of the empire. External threats also mounted. The rise of European powers, fueled by the Age of Exploration and the discovery of new sea routes to the east, challenged Ottoman dominance in trade and navigation. Conflicts with the Habsburg Empire in Europe and the Safavid Empire in the east further drained Ottoman resources and exposed vulnerabilities within the empire. Economic stagnation, partly due to the influx of silver from the Americas, led to inflation and financial instability within the Ottoman Empire. Social unrest grew as the gap between the wealthy elite and the common people widened. The once mighty Ottoman war machine, bogged down by internal strife and external pressures, struggled to maintain its grip on power. Murad IV, born in 1612, entered a world of opulent palaces and simmering intrigue. He was a son of Sultan Ahmed I, a ruler who had briefly brought stability to the empire. However, Murad's early life was far from the luxurious upbringing one might expect of an Ottoman prince. The death of his father, when Murad was just a child, plunged the Ottoman dynasty into a period of uncertainty and fear. Rather than ascending to the throne, Murad and his brothers were confined to the cafes, a gilded cage within the Topkapi Palace. The cafes, meant to protect potential heirs from palace coups, became a prison for Murad. Here he witnessed the brutal realities of power struggles within the Ottoman court. He saw his relatives rise and fall, victims of the empire's cutthroat politics. This experience left an indelible mark on the young prince, shaping his worldview and instilling in him a deep-seated ruthlessness. Despite the confinement and isolation, Murad received a rigorous education. He delved into Islamic theology, Ottoman history and military strategy, preparing himself for a destiny he could only hope for. The years in the cafes were a period of forced seclusion, but they also forged Murad into a survivor. He emerged from this gilded cage with a steely resolve, a keen understanding of Ottoman court politics, and an unyielding determination to restore order to the empire. He had witnessed the disastrous consequences of weak leadership and was determined to rule with an iron fist. The boy who had entered the cafes as a frightened prince was now a young man ready to claim his birthright. Restoring order, a campaign against corruption and lawlessness. Upon assuming power, Murad IV embarked on a mission to restore order within the Ottoman Empire. Decades of corruption had eroded the empire's foundations. Murad, known for his ruthlessness, implemented reforms to curb corruption and establish the rule of law. He targeted corrupt officials, dismissing and punishing them. Murad replaced them with honest and competent individuals. His reforms extended to the grassroots, addressing lawlessness and implementing stricter punishments. Murad's presence in the streets instilled fear among wrongdoers. His aim was to create a more just and equitable society. Reclaiming lost glory, the Baghdad campaign. Murad IV's reign was not solely defined by internal reforms. He understood that the Ottoman Empire's strength rested upon its military might. The Safavid Persians seized Baghdad in 1624, a blow to Ottoman prestige. In 1635, Murad IV led a campaign to reclaim Baghdad. His decision to lead from the front showed his commitment. The campaign was arduous, facing harsh conditions and Safavid ambushes. Murad inspired his troops with his bravery. After months, the Ottoman army reached Baghdad. The siege was brutal, lasting weeks. Ottoman cannons bombarded the city walls. Murad's presence was instrumental in maintaining morale. A transient respite, the fragility of Murad IV's reforms. Murad IV's reign, marked by remarkable achievements, was a transient respite for the ailing Ottoman Empire. His iron-fisted rule and ambitious reforms breathed new life into the empire but sowed future instability. Murad's successors lacked his strength and political acumen, failing to navigate the challenges ahead. The empire remained vulnerable to deep-rooted issues despite momentary invigoration. Murad's absolute authority stifled the development of strong institutions and a capable bureaucracy. His reliance on fear and intimidation created obedience rather than genuine loyalty. Without his iron hand, the empire was susceptible to factionalism and corruption. Despite the transient nature of his reforms, Murad IV's reign cast a long shadow over the Ottoman Empire. He left behind a legacy of both achievement and cautionary lessons that would shape the empire's trajectory for generations to come. His reign served as a stark reminder of the importance of strong leadership, the perils of unchecked corruption, and the delicate balance between order and freedom within a vast and diverse empire. Murad's most enduring legacy was perhaps his ability to instill a sense of pride and restore a measure of stability to an empire teetering on the brink of collapse. His military victories, particularly the recapture of Baghdad, reasserted Ottoman dominance in the region and provided a much-needed boost to the empire's flagging morale. The memory of Murad, the warrior sultan who had led his armies to victory, served as a source of inspiration for future generations of Ottomans. Furthermore, Murad's reforms, though ultimately unsustainable in their original form, laid the groundwork for future attempts at Ottoman modernization. His efforts to curb corruption, streamline the bureaucracy and centralize power, while flawed, highlighted the need for fundamental changes within the empire's administrative and social structures. Later, sultans, drawing upon Murad's example, would attempt to implement their own reforms, albeit with varying degrees of success. In the annals of Ottoman history, Murad IV's reign stands as a period of both brilliance and brutality, a time of remarkable achievements and missed opportunities. He was a ruler of contradictions, a ruthless tyrant who genuinely believed he was acting in the best interests of his empire and its people. His legacy continues to fascinate and inspire debate, a testament to the enduring power of his personality and the indelible mark he left on the Ottoman world. Murad IV's reign was a whirlwind of action, a stark contrast to the weak and indecisive leadership that had plagued the Ottoman Empire in the preceding decades. He was a ruler who understood the precarious state of his inheritance, an empire teetering on the edge of collapse, threatened from within and without. Murad, however, was not content to merely preside over the empire's decline. He was determined to reverse the tide of misfortune, to restore the Ottoman Empire to its former glory, and to etch his name alongside the greatest sultans in Ottoman history. Murad's methods were often harsh, his justice swift and merciless. He understood that fear could be a powerful tool for a ruler, especially in a time of chaos and uncertainty. His reign saw the execution of thousands, from corrupt officials to common criminals, a testament to his unwavering commitment to restoring order. While history may judge his methods as brutal, there is no denying that Murad's iron-fisted rule had a significant impact. He succeeded in curbing corruption, restoring a semblance of law and order, and reasserting the authority of the Sultanate. Murad's reign was not simply about repression and fear. He understood that the long-term stability of the empire depended on more than just military might and a heavy hand. He implemented a series of reforms aimed at addressing the root causes of the empire's decline. He overhauled the Ottoman bureaucracy, reformed the tax system, and invested in infrastructure projects. He sought to revive the economy, promote trade, and improve the lives of his subjects. While his successes in these areas were mixed, his efforts demonstrated a genuine desire to improve the state of the empire, not just to maintain his own grip on power. History remembers Murad IV as the Sultan who revived the Ottoman Empire, but his achievements must be viewed within the context of the empire's long and complex history. Murad's reign was ultimately a fleeting respite, a brief period of stability and renewed strength in the midst of a long and gradual decline. The problems facing the empire were too deeply entrenched, the forces of change too powerful, for even a ruler as determined and ruthless as Murad to fully overcome. His reign, for all its successes, merely postponed the inevitable. Murad's successors, lacking his strength of will and his unwavering commitment to reform, were unable to maintain the momentum he had created. Corruption crept back into the Ottoman bureaucracy, factionalism once again plagued the court, and the empire's enemies sensed an opportunity to exploit any perceived weakness. Within a generation of Murad's death, the Ottoman Empire was once again mired in the same problems that had plagued it for decades. One of the key factors contributing to the ephemeral nature of Murad's achievements was the very nature of his rule. Murad was an absolute monarch, accustomed to ruling by decree and brooking no dissent. While this approach was effective in the short term, it did little to address the underlying structural problems within the empire. Murad's reforms were largely dependent on his personal involvement and his ability to impose his will on the Ottoman system. He did not create lasting institutions or mechanisms for ensuring accountability and good governance beyond his own reign. Murad IV's reign, though ultimately unable to halt the Ottoman Empire's slow decline, left an indelible mark on both the empire and its historical memory. He stands as a figure of fascination and debate, a testament to the enduring power of personality and the complexities of leadership in a time of crisis. His story serves as a cautionary tale, a reminder that even the most determined of rulers cannot always overcome the weight of history or the deep-rooted challenges facing their realms. Despite the ultimate failure of his efforts to reverse the Ottoman Empire's decline, Murad IV's reign holds a significant place in Ottoman history. He is remembered as a ruler of action, a sultan who refused to accept the fate that seemed to await his empire. His military campaigns, particularly the recapture of Baghdad, provided a much-needed morale boost and temporarily restored a sense of Ottoman pride. His reign stands as a reminder that even in the face of seemingly insurmountable challenges, a determined leader can make a difference, even if that difference proves to be fleeting.